number line. And then let's make a number line here. And I think this is, for the most part, review. Here's our little number line. Starting at 0, we are very familiar with all the numbers to the right over here. I'll bet you've probably used most of them at one time of your life or another. Okay, but we may not be quite as familiar with the numbers on the back side, which are what? Negative numbers. And the negative numbers are a small reflection of the numbers on the right side, left side. Okay, now let me just tell you here, just for a little definition, because the book throws them at us here. These numbers right here, children, starting with 1 going this way, these are the numbers we call the counting numbers. I don't know really why, but one way to remember what the counting numbers are is to remember when your parents taught you to count. Do you remember how they did it? Or when you watch whatever TV show that talks about, you know, when you're 1, 2, 3 years old, remember, your parents ever went 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, those are the counting numbers. The counting numbers don't include 0, because when your parents taught you to count, unless they were probably mathematicians, they didn't start with 0, they always started with 1. 0 is a hard thing to teach a kid, because how do you show somebody 0? You don't, because 0 is nothing. I mean, you can show the symbol is easy, but to get somebody to figure out what 0 means, 0 means nothing, but how do you show a kid nothing? You go, huh? And then they think, oh, 0 is the 4? I mean, because it's nothing. So, that's the counting numbers. And if you're showing what the counting numbers are, we put a little set notation here. It starts at 1, 2, 3, 4, and they go on forever this way. Then we have on a number line here, starting at 0, really the same exact thing as the counting numbers except with 0. And what we call the whole numbers. Same as the counting, except with a 0. Now it's important to know, when somebody talks about whole numbers, they're not talking about fractions or decimals. Whole numbers are whole numbers, they're the big numbers. Okay? And whole numbers are the exact same thing as counting numbers, except they include 0. And then last but not least, we include all of these numbers here with the negative numbers. With the negative numbers, all of these numbers are the integers. Integers are positive and negative whole numbers. Positive and negative whole numbers. So just kind of that's just a little introduction. The book won't go a whole lot into any of that stuff, but that's the way it is. And then it's important to remember that on a number line, if I asked you what was bigger, 2 or 4, what's bigger? 4. What's bigger, 1 or 3? 3. Any number to the right of another number is always bigger than it. Okay, which you'll say, yeah, but sometimes we forget that with negative numbers. If I asked you what was bigger, -3 or -2, I'm sorry, change that. If I asked you what was bigger, -4 or -2, -2 is actually bigger than -4 because anything going this way, numbers keep getting smaller. And another way to think about that is in terms of money. Is it better to owe somebody only $2 or to owe them 4? It's better to only owe them 2. As a country, You know, we are in debt in the trillions of dollars, which is a huge negative number. Would it be better for our country to be in debt 0 or be in debt, whatever we are, $7 trillion? What is that? Million, billion, trillion. What is bigger, 0 or negative 7 trillion? 0 is very much bigger. It's 7 trillion more. Yes, Evan would do well to do that. And then the other thing the book kind of does is this, and I want to make sure, actually open your books to page 48, please.